Right. Good morning, my wisdomers. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world right now. Hello, hello, hello. Just did my meditation this morning, listening to my binaural beats. You know, so let's look at how Tesla's innovation and how do you feel about Tesla cars, and are they saving the environment as well? Now, Elon Musk is you know, an amazing, entrepreneur all the way in the United States of America. Now, I'm always finding that, you know, how we can learn from Tesla and how Tesla is changing the world of innovations and cars. And I'm always wondering, how, we can benefit from Elon Musk's work. Now, if there's any Elon Musk's fans out there on SpaceX, because I love SpaceX, I think SpaceX is going to do a great job in the space race. You know that. And I want to know, like, your opinions on SpaceX and Elon Musk, if you see a future with Tesla and how Tesla can basically save the environment, because electronic cars are I think, and hybrid cars are the way of the future now for some reason. And it's like, when you had that vision in mind of Tesla, that's amazing. And would you ever own a Tesla? How economy, how fuel econ, how fuel economical are Tesla? You know, I think there's a new Tesla. I was listening to Joe Rogan last night with Tim Dillon, and there's a Tesla car that has a steering wheel just like a Formula One car. I think it's a bit confusing. I want to know, like, if anyone's listening in right now, like, would you own a Tesla? And how do you feel about Elon Musk changing the future of entrepreneurship in this business? Yeah, just all you need to do is just jump on stage on the Stephen Shields radio show and share your thoughts and your opinions on Tesla or whatever you're doing. I'd love to get to know you on this wonderful app called Wisdom, because this app is awesome. Probably one of the best audio apps in the business. You know that. And I'd like to know what you view entrepreneurship and the future for you in this world. My honest thoughts about SpaceX is, yeah, one day I think they will send astronauts to Mars, because I find space is a very fascinating topic as well. Now, living in a pandemic, I mean, if you're an investor in Tesla, how do you feel about if you're an investor with the company? Would you invest in motor vehicles if you're an investor very successful in this business? How would you invest in car companies? Well, for me, it's a risk investing in motor vehicles, because there's no guarantee the motor vehicle's going to work. Now, look, I wouldn't own a Tesla, because in Australia, I don't know where you charge your Tesla cars. They're all, I think they're battery powered. I've sat in a Tesla. They had a Tesla displayed in the shopping centre, and I think it was about 2 years ago or so, maybe three, pre-pandemic. Yeah, I sat in the Tesla, and it had this huge computer screen, huge, like Google Maps on it. I'm like, whoa, very electronic. Like cars now are going all electronic. I mean, the hours and hours of entrepreneurship that goes into building these fantastic machines is amazing with Tesla. Uh, I know they're big in the United States. I know they have a lot of charging ports for the Tesla. I said to my mechanic, how do you feel about Teslas? He said, well, they're just, there's some stuff I'm not happier with, because when you're a mechanic, you're fixing cars all day, and they know all the ins and outs of cars, you know. Gets me thinking, uh, would I ever own a Tesla? Yeah. And as I do get successful, and you get successful as an entrepreneur in this game, would you ever consider owning a Tesla? You know, and it gets to, like, in my view, that to be the best of the best of the best of the best is something that you got to want to be persistent with in this game. So wherever you're tuning in from, let me know how you feel about Elon Musk and Tesla. Jump on stage. how you view future innovations of climate change as well in the automotive industry. I'm Stephen Shields on the Stephen Shields Radio Show. Also, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Stephen Shields Radio Show and turn on your notifications so you will not miss an episode every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time when these podcasts go live, because I love the podcast. And I love doing the morning show on wisdom and having my cup of coffee to start the day. Oh, and I got to do the meditation before I start too, as well. So I'm always thinking, as an entrepreneur, um, I'm always, doing the best work, putting in the hard work. But does hard work always pay off, you see? And why is that? Why does hard work only get you so far in this game? Now, the truth is, a lot of these companies, they have huge capital, like Tesla. They've got investors at Tesla. I think Tesla's gone back, or SpaceX have gone back since 2008. They were trying to launch rockets. I mean, you gotta understand, launching these rockets is fucking expensive as hell. Very expensive. And if that fails, that's money going down the drain. Now, Elon Musk's situation, uh, I like Elon Musk. I think he's done some very great work at Tesla. I think he's different. He's a hard-working man. But, I think, now, well, taxpayers aren't keen to fund NASA, so who's going to fund the space race? The billionaires, of course, like Jeff Bezos wanted to go to space. Richard Branson, but they didn't go into space like an astronaut would. They went, what would have been on the edge of space. So they didn't really go deep into space. Now, you got to consider, if you're going to Mars, it's going to take you a year to get there, alright? And a year getting back. And you got to think, okay, they got to have a supply ship as well. So how does Elon Musk overcome these problems? And there's a lot of shit that can go wrong in Mars, and people will lose their lives. I'm telling you. There will be astronauts that will not come back, but that's the risk they take. It's like when they went to the moon for the first time. It was huge, but now it's just no one really cares about the moon because it's the same moon rocks they're going to find all the time. But this is entrepreneurship. This is the problems we are solving. It's like me as an entrepreneur. I mean, these are questions you've got to definitely ask yourself all the time is, what problems am I solving in this business? What new innovations am I bringing? What ideas do I have? You know, whose life am I going to change in the future? what can I offer uh, to the global economy and the world economy with my idea? And what's next for me as an entrepreneur? But these are the things we have to learn, and we have to. I think you got to be realistic in what you're doing in the space race as well. Is that space is dangerous, and I've always been fascinated with space and the ocean. You know, actually, I've got a music video coming out this week called "The New World Order." That'll be on my YouTube channel. I'd like to ask YouTube a question as well, and to the inventor of YouTube is, how can I monetize my channel faster? I mean, this is entrepreneurship. They had an idea, people to share videos, but really, sharing videos is nothing new. Like, there used to be a show called Funniest Home Videos, if you remember that. This is fucking hell, I was a little kid. Sharing videos on a platform is not really a new thing. YouTube just came up with the idea of I can share my own videos and express my creativity. But as fucking Google decided to buy them out, which you'd think it's not very pleasant for Google to do that because they're just greedy enough as they are, and they don't care. You know, I remember the like if Elon Musk says something on YouTube, and like he's a huge celebrity, right? And if he says something that goes against their community guidelines, like YouTube can just demonetize him, you know that, and that's the problem. Now, if you're a content creator who relies on the monetization, which is quite sad, and some people do, I mean, and then they just boom demonetize you because you want to express your feelings and express your opinion, but it goes against what their political agenda is. I feel like a lot of these huge companies, like, you have to, you know, like when investors are investing, I mean, they want something in return. Like, this is how this is how I feel about a lot of these huge startups. But what makes a startup successful is someone who has a vision and is not talking shit and can show that they're putting in the work, saying that yes, we are going to deliver what we say we do, and our company stands by, etc., etc., etc. That's what a true startup is. Okay, someone who has that passion, you know, that self belief. Exactly. But is believing in yourself enough to get you to the top? Is believing in yourself enough to get you to the top? Aha! That's another point I'd like to make, and I'd like to invite anyone who's listening in right now. And if you're a Tesla fan and an entrepreneur fan in this world, and how you view Tesla as well, and what you see for a future in electric motor cars. You know, despite living in a pandemic. No pandemic, no global financial crisis, no economic crash should destroy your hopes and dreams. Yeah, so that's what it is. No dreams. You can just hear I just got up. But yeah, if anyone's listening and was inspired, come on stage. Let me know where you're from. I'd like to get to talk to people on wisdom because this is amazing app for the entrepreneurs and startups who are out there and have a vision for their company as well. But yeah, as I was saying about Elon Musk, now SpaceX launched in 2020. They put their astronauts in space. Donald Trump was there at the launch. Uh, Elon Musk as well. But it gets to show that engineering is a very fascinating thing for me. I mean, I love it. I love just learning how things are working, and engineering, I think it's always been about trial and error. Like, it's like music, I guess. You always have to have patience, that belief in yourself, and that will to just keep on going. The will to win and the will to be successful. And believe in yourself. You know, that's all I could say. Is there's a lot of people that are going to doubt you and ridicule you and laugh at you, but you know, if you think about it like this, we we're only going to live once. Okay, we only live once in our lives. So before we die, go and do something that you feel called to do. Okay, go and be an entrepreneur. Go and make a change to the world. Go and find the answers to the problems. Go and find out who you really are deep down inside. Go and cut the cord when you're practicing that meditation, and let go of the past and look forward to the future. Cut the cord, cut the stress out of your life, cut the anxiety out of your life, cut the fear out of your life. Because we want to manifest success and abundance and love and peace. That's what we want. And that's what you deserve. Because if you truly believe in yourself and you love yourself and you're working hard as an entrepreneur, you deserve unlimited amounts of abundance, love, success, peace, and prosperity in your life. I'd like to know if anyone's listening right now, and you know you feel that you know called to get on stage on Wisdom, and yeah, let me know where you're from, what you're doing with your life as well, and basically where you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. I can see we got a guest waiting. Alright, here we go. Let's see if this works. Hey, Malcolm.
Oh man, Stephen, you know I had to hop on here and give you some a challenging topic to talk about.
How are ya?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Good to hear you from you again. So how you been?
I've been busy, man. Man, this entire mission, this whole week has been kind of exhausting to say the least. I mean, the jobs and the tasks that they have us doing is mundane, but it keeps you busy. It keeps
Mm,
you very busy and proactive. And I do enjoy a job that keeps me preoccupied. Like I cannot. I have bad ADHD, so I can't sit at a desk and just do nothing. I can't. I don't
mm,
understand people that are okay with that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're talking about Elon Musk and Tesla today. And
Elon.
I was watching Joe Rogan last night, and yeah, the new Tesla car is like got a steering wheel of a Formula One
Oh, you just not caught
car.
on to that, man?
Yeah, just got onto it.
Oh no, that's been implemented in their Teslas for quite some time. They implemented that feature since summer of 2020. I'm sorry, summer of
Oh,
2021 of 2021.
oh no, I just got onto it yesterday.
Oh, that's fine. Hey, I mean, it's all right. Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about it, but I can understand the concept considering the fact that, I mean, since the car is more autonomous driving than anything, it would serve of a greater purpose. Plus, the Teslas, from my personal experience, have a very good turning radius, so it makes sense in my eyes, and I can
Mm,
honestly tell you that it's not that bad. It's not that huge of a difference from um, having a full steering wheel. But you can implement one yourself if you do wish to have a full steering wheel. But when I drive, typically I don't really my my hands are not usually at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. It's usually more so at at 6 o'clock.
mm. But see, the steering wheels. You know how you have the horn on the middle of the steering wheel? They made it a little button on the new
Yes.
Teslas. Now, you don't see too many Teslas in Australia, Malcolm.
Well, that sounds depressing.
I think because we don't have a lot of those charging stations or whatever you have to charge. Because I said to my mechanic, would you recommend driving a Tesla? He said no, because they're difficult to fix, and don't you have to go to like a Tesla mechanic to fix them? Can't go to an ordinary mechanic.
Yes, that is that's true. Very true.
Mm,
But they're very low maintenance though. Like the only thing you'd have to do if you really needed to fix it is if you the only maintenance that's required of a Tesla, if I'm being honest with you, is like a tire rotation and windshield wiper fluid, and I believe Freon for the air conditioner.
mm,
And every 500,000 miles, which the average person that owns a car doesn't even go past 200 miles, um,
mm.
is required for a new battery upgrade. But like that's for people that buy used Teslas. Like I can
Oh.
only yeah I speak from because I've owned the Model X, so like I'm just speaking from a personal Tesla owner experience. Plus, the app's
Mhm,
very intuitive, and you can start your car up essentially from the app. You know how easy it is. Like you get in your car, you press the brake pedal, and you're already ready to
mhm.
go. Like it's that easy. Like, dude.
Well, what happens if you have to travel on a very hot day and Tesla's powered by lithium ion and it gets so hot that it just destroys the battery?
Well, that's why the batteries are manufactured so that it can handle under very inclemental weather conditions. You should be more
Hmm.
concerned of the battery in a colder climate than that of a warmer climate, if I'm being honest
Yeah.
with you.
Hmm. Now, if you like Teslas, I got no issue with Teslas, but do you have to change the oil filter and the spark plug, or do they take oil, or are they just electronic?
They're all electronic, so it doesn't require any of the nonsense that would for a combustion engine vehicle.
Hmm. Wow. See, like sports cars, for instance, like Ferraris, Lamborghinis, you can't go to an ordinary mechanic.
No, you cannot.
And that sucks because you have to go to a Ferrari dealer and they're expensive.
Well, I mean, if you can afford a Ferrari, then I don't think expenses is a thing of your concern.
Hmm. Like our roads in Australia are not made for sports cars, Malcolm. There's so many potholes and Ferrari or sports cars are so low to the ground. It's like if you pop a tire, God.
Yeah, that's how it is in certain places where I live as well, in
Hmm.
Ohio, silly old Ohio, shady Ohio, where the roads are very bumpy, and that's why. Well, here's the thing: with certain sports vehicles, they have active suspensions, so that when you
Hmm.
are in an environment that has a slightly than bumpy road, that active suspension helps with the vehicle the vehicle's basically a drivetrain. It basically makes it a lot more of a smoother ride, and each and every wheel will act independently of one another depending on the sports car that you have. But certain sports cars have what's called sports suspension, or perhaps custom suspension. These cars are tuned so that it can be and operate in certain environments. But if you're driving around a Lamborghini that's extremely low to the ground, come on now, dude, come on,
Hmm.
why are you even driving that thing around, or are you just driving it to flex? Because if I see somebody driving around a Lamborghini just because, especially considering the weather conditions and just the climate and like the overall environment, then clearly they're driving around to flex, or they're going to a car show where it's not it's strongly discouraged to drive it around because you're going to ruin it. So a lot of people put them in trucks, and
Hmm.
those trucks deliver those vehicles to specific locations. Because to be honest with you, those cars, as much as people say they are roadworthy, the only place you're really going to see those kind of cars is either extremely west in the United States, or extremely south, or up north, virtually.
Hmm.
Otherwise,
The pro- the problem is if you get like heavy snow, okay, in some even in parts of Australia and the US, Canada, that can affect your motor vehicle, especially Tesla.
well, it can affect any vehicle. But I see where you're going with electric.
Mm. Now, what's the obstacles Elon Musk has to overcome with Tesla? Say if I lived in Calgary and I want a Tesla, how am I going to drive my Tesla if I'm bogged in snow, Malcolm?
Well, you better hope that you opt in for that beautiful Tesla Cybertruck that's coming out than a Tesla Model 3, because I'll tell you what, that Cybertruck is equipped with a tri-motor and a very active brake, very great braking and suspension, which, by the way, is going to be equipped to handle inclement weather conditions and tow up to 10,000 pounds, which is ridiculous.
Hmm.
That's like you can tow two Teslas with one Tesla Cybertruck. That's phenomenal.
Shit. And do you think Tesla's coming out with their own mobile phone?
I wouldn't put it behind me because Elon's always advancing and looking for the next latest and greatest project. Because I don't understand the mind of a billionaire, but I do know a few millionaire friends, and they always get bored with their projects, so they go to the next project. So I'm going to assume Elon is probably already fathoming or conjuring up some other kind of project of his own.
Hmm. Let's talk about how these millionaires get funding, especially SpaceX. How do people fund these projects?
Well, they're either publicly funded, which is by either consumers or private investor, or privately funded, or publicly funded would in this case indicate government funding.
Yeah.
um, to any avail, or private funding, which of course, once again, like you and I would like if you were to put money into it, that's private funding. If I were to put money into
Hmm.
it, that's private funding. So public or private funding is usually how they fund these operations.
Hmm. Wow. And do you think that Elon Musk is going to send astronauts to Mars in the future?
Once again, I definitely wouldn't put it behind me,
Hmm.
considering his SpaceX program.
Hmm. Mars is a very dangerous mission.
You're telling me.
Like, it takes a year to get there and a year to get back. So you're looking at about a 2-year trip.
Well, from my understanding, and you're right in saying that, is that the people that they plan on sending to Mars in this 2024 or 2025 mission to colonize Mars, I think they've actually pushed it back a little bit longer. But the whole point is that they plan on sending a few humans to colonize on Mars. And by
Hmm.
colonizing, they plan on staying there for the rest of their lives.
Shit.
Oh, you didn't hear about this? Oh, yeah, man. This kind of thing has been in the talks for years now. I mean, NASA's been talking about it for quite some time. And now, since you have billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk hopping on this kind of project, it wouldn't surprise me that they want to be involved in this kind of development and see where it goes. But yeah, no, there's a mission where they plan on sending a few humans to Mars for scientific purposes, research in all aspects, and to better understand the environment of that planet on Mars. So we're interested. There's actually been a few people that have scoped at a few structures as far as housing goes on Mars. So they plan on sending equipment to Mars as well, and constantly sending equipment to and from there.
Hmm.
Though it may take years, but when these astronauts and these people leave, they will leave with equipment to sustain a prolonged period of time. So they're going to have more than enough. Plus, the International Space Station that will meet them halfway.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you're going to have a lot of countries funding a lot of millionaires from different countries that are going to fund the space race to Mars, corporations, of course.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly.
There's been a few science fiction shows out there that show what can go wrong on Mars. Definitely a lot of things can go wrong on Mars. Very
A lot of
dangerous
things can
planet.
go wrong on Earth too.
Yeah.
You can take the risk.
And you got to understand how big that rocket's going to be to be able to take astronauts to Mars, okay? Like, you look at the Saturn V rocket that took the astronauts to the moon, that was a huge fucking rocket, Malcolm.
Was
This Mars rocket, that's going to take years to build that.
it's been in development for quite some time. I mean, it's an ongoing project. Um,
But let's talk about the supply ships. See, how are they gonna bring supplies to Mars and back? You got to think about that too.
well, we're gonna hope that in aerospace engineering, that advancements will allow for faster travel of products in a more efficient
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
Because, like all the sci-fi shows illustrate, that with advancements in technology, one will hope, probably not in our lifetimes, but definitely in the
Mhm.
next lifetime for whomever is inheriting this or living on this earth after us, that there will be travel by the speed of light or light speed travel of any sort. So it'll be interesting to see the innovations. But as of right now, I'm sure that they have the scientists on the job figuring it out. And I have confidence in this mission. I do.
Exactly. And let's hope that we can send astronauts to Mars in the future.
Yes. Let's hope
'Cause
for
there's
that.
something it's something that we have to do. I'm all for it, Malcolm.
I am too.
See, they've already put what do they call those robot thingies on Mars that NASA sent to see if there was life, and it's definitely proven there's life on Mars.
Yes, and the Mars rover actually recently discovered that, which, by the way, its name is Renaissance. Um,
Uh-huh.
the Mars rover recently discovered that there were traces of hydrogen, and also perhaps that there was a river of some sort on Mars at one point. And also,
Mm.
recent findings suggest that at one point there may have been foliage, which in this case means that there is bacteria on the planet, which is a good indication that there may or may not have been uh, there is an opportunity, there's an idea that they may be able to grow plants on that planet naturally instead of using
Shit!
artificial. Yes. All,
Wow, that is
all
so
signs point
cool.
to the expansion of being able to grow something on that planet, thus being habitable.
Wow, that's amazing. Uh, you get conspiracy theories out there that saying that there's going to be a war in space.
Oh yeah, no, I don't doubt it. I mean, I'm open to believing anything, but once again, this kind of thing won't happen in our lifetimes. So I'm not even sweating it.
If you play Call of Duty Ghosts, you get to play a mission where you're in space, and it's a space war.
Oh my god, yeah, that was a very surreal mission, man. Oh man, that mission was very interesting. And then you came back to Earth too.
Yeah,
That was the opening scene in the game. I believe so.
yeah, that was a good game. But do you think like these video game companies are trying to tell us the truth?
Well, I don't think that they're trying to tell us the truth. More so, just use their imagination on what they believe their take on what could happen in the future could happen. I mean, yes, I do believe they are trying to tell us something, but I believe they're also foreshadowing what could happen in the event that something, an alternative scenario happened. Because I mean, that's just what happens in fantasies and
Mm,
parables and books almost all the time. Or more specifically, nonfiction. They they satire the idea of what if.
hmm
So I'm not going to doubt that there could be a scenario in which we're fighting something in space. I mean, when you have operations like the Space Force happening, I mean, I wouldn't put it behind me.
hmm hmm Yeah, definitely. I think it was. It goes back to Werner von Braun writing what do they call science fiction about Mars, writing stories about astronauts going to Mars. So that's interesting. What imagination can do.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it truly is, especially if you add some psychedelics in the picture. Me personally, I don't do
Mm,
any of that, but I can only imagine based off of my observation of seeing people doing it and then talking to me about their experience and then hearing about it and then once again engaging in discussions with people that have. It seems like it's a very euphoric experience that's unimaginably describable unless you experience it for yourself. So,
let's talk about aliens. Do you believe aliens exist?
what do you define as an alien? Is my question first.
You know, when you hear about people getting abducted by a UFO, and what do they call those grey creatures with the big eyes? That type of alien.
Creatures with big eyes. That's the
They
most
call them
average.
greys.
That's the most average description that people give. Um,
Mm,
Alien is an it's more of an ambiguous term describing a foreign object that the average person doesn't know how to perceive. So, alien is a derivative for foreign in a sense. And in describing that, I do believe that because we live in a solar system and that it is proven scientifically that there are more solar systems out there than just ours.
mm.
I definitely would like to believe that there is more life out there in this galaxy, this chloroplast of solar systems with different suns, different planets that we can't even explore. That would take lifetimes to get to. So I do firmly believe that there are other forms of life out there that one would describe as an alien to us, because of course it's an alien to us. It's an invasion. We've never had visitors, but well, I mean, I don't want to dismiss the idea that we haven't had visitors, because I'm sure that in certain solar systems they could have advanced. And when it comes to technology, they're more advanced than us. We're probably the least advanced of all
Mm.
civilizations out there. So I wouldn't doubt that there is the realm of that there's you know other life out there.
For me, Malcolm, I'd have to see an alien in person to be able to believe it.
Well, you and I both. I mean, but I still like to I like to hope that, or I'd like to think and be open minded that there is a possibility of there being another form of life other than just the human Homo
Mhm.
sapien, as they call us. We're Homo sapiens, life form.
See, Chris Hadfield, the astronaut, said he's seen aliens uh, in the space station, but if NASA saw something like that, they always cover it up. Uh, Now, how come governments, if they've ever seen an alien, should just accept it that they're out there?
What's your question?
So if the government saw aliens, they always deny it. Chris Hadfield, the astronaut Chris Hadfield,
I do not, but continue.
he's a famous astronaut. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple of years ago, and he said he believes aliens exist, but the government will always deny them if they existed.
So, are you asking me a question, or are you making a statement? I'm just trying to understand how to formulate a response to yours.
Just making a statement.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Um, how come the government denies the existence of such creatures, of such foreign life?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I couldn't tell you, but I can only assume that it's for the same reason that we don't go around telling people our secrets, our personal inner thoughts and secrets. It's just for
true.
security.
Like people claim that they've been abducted by aliens, right? And they say, "Oh yeah, I was one day driving my car in the middle of the night, and this UFO, I don't know, stopped the car statically, and then I was pulled into the UFO. I had a dream, but then they erased my memory." I'm serious. People talk about this stuff.
Oh no, dude, let me tell you something. I have had some pretty crazy experiences that if I were to describe to you,
Mm,
would probably make me sound like I am a lunatic. So
mhm,
I do want to say that I do not doubt the validity of the claims that people have made. But
mhm,
I will say though, they're probably amongst that demographic of those who have claimed to have been abducted by aliens are probably some that are attention seekers, and probably some
mhm.
that may have had or have underwent such an experience. But then again, because of the stuff that I've been through myself, I am not going to dismiss the idea that that could have happened.
Now, don't forget, people. Okay, psychedelics. People who take drugs, right, can hallucinate. Psychedelics, especially like LSD. You know, now people can get on this stuff and then have these experiences and then go to the media and say, "I was abducted by aliens." There's a lot of bullshit out there, Malcolm, and people have photoshopped this stuff too. There's a lot of hoaxes. So
The
let's
human
face it,
mind, the human mind.
technology. You know, we can do anything we want with technology. It's been going back since World War II. You can Photoshop things, and but like I said, until I've seen an alien or a UFO in person, I've taken a photo or a video on my phone. That's when I'll say, Malcolm, they exist.
I understand.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on aliens.
Psychedelics, people who take psychedelics and then they claim to have an abduction by an alien.
Well, like people that have had that claim that they have seen the Messiah, or people that claim the Earth
Mm-hmm.
is flat, or people that believe the sun is just a projection, like people that believe so many other things. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion based off of their
Mm-hmm.
own experiences. Everybody has a perception on life, right? I'm. I don't want to dismiss what one can believe is to be true, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their own definition of truth as well. It is an ambiguous term that serves multiple definitions on a vast spectrum of just human perception. So, to answer that question, um, once again, I would like to assume that they could be onto something, but they couldn't be. Who knows? Only they do, through their experiences, through their lens. Everybody sees life in a different lens,
Well,
right?
that's what life is, Malcolm. Life is different for everyone. You know that
Mm-hmm.
everyone experiences life in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dreams. Let's talk about when you dream, you have a good dream or a bad dream, and you might wake up in the middle of the night and you think, "What the fuck was that?" That's happened to me a lot.
Me too.
But you got to understand, like if you eat a big meal before you go to bed, that can affect your sleeping pattern too. So I guess there's a lot to the human mind that we just don't even understand. Like we can't see the human mind.
Well, it's more than just the human mind. It's also what drives the human mind based off of various aspects in your life. I mean, you have to think of your diet, what you're consuming on a day-in-day basis. You also have to factor in what you're feeling before you decide to go to sleep. Because when you fall asleep, there are three different stages of sleep, okay? There is
Hmm.
a very light stage of sleep where you're half asleep. There is a more intimate stage of sleep where you can actually start to sleep, but you're not really experiencing what's called REM. And
Hmm.
REM is rapid eye movement, and that's normally what you experience when you're in your deep stage of sleep, of deep sleep, and that's normally when you start kicking into dreams. Rapid eye movement normally starts between 30 to 90 minutes within falling after falling asleep. Your body
Hmm.
has to normally adjust, and it's usually, sometimes I will say, my rapid eye movement, my dreams, what I'm experiencing, despite like how vivid it is, it's usually driven by the thoughts that are at the top of my mind before I fall asleep, because I've definitely have fallen asleep thinking about a girl and have waken up have waken up with a rather different view on her, a more
Mm.
amplified view on her, if you understand, if you're catching my drift. The whole point is that
Hmm.
your mind can go, and it can really drift,
Oh
and
yeah.
it really, our minds are extremely complex tools that we don't take advantage of. We
Mm.
undervalue our brain and its potential. We truly do. We don't appreciate ourselves and what we're capable of accomplishing.
Mm. Like you got to think of like psychedelics. Like there's ayahuasca out there that can put you into a trance or somehow like that and give you visions. Like a lot of this stuff on UFO and underground bases. Uh, I don't know if there are underground bases in Australia. Like in Australia, we have a place called Pine Gap. It's a military base in the desert, and it can hear people's conversations. Yet it was denied for years.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's in Australia. Pine Gap. It's an American base.
Is it a military base?
Yeah. So there's so much going on in the world that we just don't know about as a society that we should know.
Well, I think if we were supposed to know it, then they would tell us, but they know that it would cause mass panic. And I
Mm,
think if we knew almost just about everything that NASA probably is hiding from us, then what would be the need of NASA? Because then you would have people doing their own thing and exploring whatever they want for themselves. It's like,
mm,
I think for the fact that information is preserved is simply because it allows for law and order and structure.
mm, mm,
Like,
exactly.
I wouldn't tell you all my secrets if I knew that you were capable of taking advantage of that. So like why would such a huge government conglomerate release all of their secret files when they know that there's people out there that would probably take advantage of that information and create more chaos in the world? Sometimes
That
it's
is
about chaos.
absolutely
Sometimes it's
true.
about controlling chaos in the world.
Mhm. Like there have been some military fighter pilots speak out years and years later that they'll say that they were just flying and one day they just see this flying saucer on the bottom and their instruments just stop working. How can we
What do you
explain
what
that?
I gotta ask you, Stephen? What do you believe? Because you're bringing up a lot of very interesting stories here, and I love the content. By the way, man, like this show, this is why I hop on the show. Every time I see you coming here, I'm like, I have to talk to this guy. He has a lot of great things to talk about. Like I never get bored with you, but like,
I,
what?
I watch like National Geographic. Like some of these shows are on National Geographic in the History Channel.
Okay,
But what I believe, Malcolm, is until I see it in person, I'll believe, and I'll be like, Malcolm, I saw an alien. I've got it on my phone. They're real.
I get it.
Until
I
I,
get it, man. Seeing is believing.
it's like the Apostle Paul in the Bible. He wanted to talk, like physically touch Jesus and say, "Yes, I believe it."
No, dude, I completely feel you. Like, I mean, you have you have a very rational way of thinking about things because if I can't prove what 2 plus 2 equals, then I'm not. Then the average person is going to doubt whether it is true or not. Or if it equals 4, it could equal 6. But if I don't solve the mathematical equation, then that's not going to offer me a good enough answer. That's not good enough because to some people they rely heavily on rational thought than letting their minds just drift off. Some people are more free minded and more
Mhm,
willing to believe things because there are idealists out there, there are rationalists out there, there are future thinkers, there are what do we call those kind of thinkers? People that think more futuristic into things. There are different types of thinkers, different types of perceptions, and this ties back into our previous discussion. Once again, everybody sees life through a different lens, and I can understand you have a more rational kind of mindset. I'm not knocking it. Trust me, but but you I've been through some stuff, man. I'll tell you one thing. I I I myself have had a near death experience, and I have
mhm,
definitely a different perspective on life now.
mhm,
And it has been eye opening, to say the least. And I think the reason why I'm more willing to believe into things now is because of the things that I've seen. The fact that I would like to think that I was probably crazy at one point because I would experience these really, which is why I say, man, the mind is literally an extremely powerful tool. Like your mind will fool you at times, so
mm,
much that you think you start to suffer from what they call psychosis. So a
mhm,
psychosis is a mental, or what they describe, and this is not what I personally describe it as, but they scientists describe it, or psychoanalysts describe psychosis as a mental disorder that And you can look it up too. Psychosis.
Mhm.
PSY. Yeah, I can't spell it. The whole point is that psychosis is what they describe as someone that suffers from being able to differentiate reality from non-reality. Like people that
Mhm.
have that video game theory. Like I watched this one
Mm.
show with my parents. I don't know what the heck they were watching, but this dude was in the hospital and he was like, "Man, you're just an NPC." I'm like, "Oh my goodness." And people really think that sometimes, like it's a Matrix. Are
Mm.
people really walking around thinking that every pill they see could either be a red pill or a blue pill? Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mm. You should watch that movie, Inception,
Oh, I
with
did. I love
Leonardo
that Inception
DiCaprio.
with Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh my god.
Beautiful movie.
Beautiful. Yep. Everybody that's listening, watch Inception. I promise you.
And the film score by Hans Zimmer is amazing.
Say again.
The film score by Hans Zimmer is amazing in Inception. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. You know, I wish they would use that kind of imagination to make movies now. Movies are so lackluster now.
Mm, I know.
Like, dude,
But
I've watched the first Matrix and the most recent Matrix movie that came out. I got extremely confused. So
mhm,
maybe I'm just not that in tune with myself anymore, or I just don't understand. I've kind of not had the chance to watch TV because I've been like stupid busy. But
mhm.
maybe I just need to, I don't know, watch a little bit more TV
Mm.
sometime. Take a
But
week to
let's
just binge
let's
watch TV, drink some wine. What are you gonna say?
let's talk about the near death experience, because I've had a near death experience and I'm happy to share. I just felt this sense of just this peace. I was doing a meditation one night and I just felt something was just pulling me up.
That sounds like astral projection more than it does a near death experience.
Oh, oh. No, I just felt this peace in my
Hmm.
life.
I mean, were you undergoing any kind of pain? Were you on the verge of flatlining? Like,
No, just
were you just relaxing, meditating?
yeah, I was doing a meditation and something was just pulling me. It could have been astral projection.
Yes, I think that's what you were going through. Is you all right there?
Yeah, those are cockatoos. They're up on the tree.
Is that what they sound like?
Yeah.
Wow, it's it's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Um,
No, but that's I did a meditation by Michael McIntosh on Insight Timer, and yeah, it's just this peace in my life, Malcolm.
I think if people did that more frequently, they probably wouldn't be so crazy. I think it's good to astral
Exactly.
project every now and again to just disassociate yourself from reality for a second.
Mm. Yeah, you got to do a guided meditation with a teacher. You got
Really
to know
do.
what you're doing,
Yep.
you know. But
Especially when they start
nah.
saying these when they start saying stuff like just feel your body relaxing, feel your body going numb. And then
Hmm.
you start to feel it and then before you know it you're over here in a trance.
Yeah, I've been doing breath work as well. I did breath work with binaural beats, Tibetan bowls. That's helped a lot.
Oh my god. I've been doing the same thing. That's crazy. Oh, there's a
Yeah,
playlist of binaural beats on YouTube. You should definitely look into that.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff. Great stuff. It helps me relax.
Hmm.
But it's good to be. One thing I do suggest is to be in a nice, quiet, and controlled environment so that you can achieve that level of peaceful meditation. But when you're having what's going on in your background right now, I can understand how frustrating it could be sometimes.
Mm. Well, that's what it is. I mean, we got so much noise in the world. There's pretty much what's called noise pollution
Yeah, try
that we
spending
have.
a week in New York.
Yeah, I'd love to go to New York. I want to go to Times Square.
Oh yeah, man, it's beautiful.
Mm. Definitely want to go there in the future. You
You
know,
should.
Joe Rogan. He had a comedy show booked in Vancouver, but I don't think he's going to go because he didn't want to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I can understand that. A few celebrities feel a certain kind of way about the vaccination. It's funny. There was a preliminary statistic that notated that if the vaccine was an option, only 50% of Americans would be vaccinated right now. But because
Because
they've been,
you guys
they,
had the Johnson and Johnson, but they've taken that down, aren't they?
I believe so because it's been linked to creating some blood clot issues, more specifically issues with women.
Yeah, exactly. Blood clots.
But
I mean, that's the
I believe
Johnson and
that's also been
Johnson.
linked that other issues have been linked to the Johnson and Johnson vaccine as well. But I haven't looked much into it.
Mm, yeah, it's pretty much just become a business. The vaccine. The vaccine's a business now. Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca.
I only say what I said previously is because I've asked around. And I
Yeah.
also read a thesis. It was an op-ed, so an opinion article is basically not statistical information. It's information based off of personal inference and projections, preliminary projections based off of data that's been presented. But I've asked around just for myself, even prior to reading this article about saying that up to 50% of Americans would be vaccinated if it was an option. And I would ask around people. I would say if you weren't in a way forced to get a vaccine, or basically forced by your job to keep your life, would you have gotten the vaccine?
Mm,
Nobody so far has told me yes. They've all said. I mean, no one so far has told me no because they've all said, yeah, no, I would not get the vaccine. I would not get it if it were up to me. I'm like, well, it is up to you, but because of the circumstances that that your job has put you in, and because of your life,
mm,
it's kind of been mandatory, and it just sucks. But long story short,
mm,
I don't know where I deviated, where we deviated into this discussion, but yeah, just thought I'd give you a
mm.
little interesting stat.
Exactly. The world's always changing.
Yeah, and it's been changing faster than before anyone's eyes this past year. Ever since 2019, people can't even keep track of what year it is. Sometimes
No, I'm just quoting from Joe Rogan. That's all. Because I like the Joe Rogan experience.
I might have to check that out myself sometime.
Yeah. That had some interesting guests. You know.
Nice.
But it's all. I love having you on the podcast, Malcolm.
And I also enjoy having you on my podcast as well. So when I host a show, you can definitely feel free at your own whim to submit a request. Now, I'm going to go and hop on somebody else's podcast and go bug them about random things and pick their brain. But I do appreciate speaking with you today, Steven.
You
And
too, Malcolm.
you take care, man, and have a great night.
You too. Bye. All right, that was Malcolm. That was awesome. I love getting to chat to people on wisdom as well. But yeah, no, this has been a great morning with you on wisdom. I'm about to close the room, guys. I enjoy the Stephen Shields radio show, talking society and culture as well. But yeah, I wish you all a good evening, good night, good afternoon to yous. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Stephen Shields radio show and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode every Friday at 6 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. And yeah, I'm Stephen Shields. Bye for now.